Brodes Media.
What a satisfying win, no? 4-2, a good, strong start to this 4-game set. And something aggravated me before the game even began. I saw a Twitter poll, and the response to that made me nauseous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a very simple question. What would satisfy you at the end of this 4-game series? Win the series, or you can live with the split? And you can live with the split had 37% of the votes. 37! It should be 0. This team had to respond. This team needed to somehow internally find fire and manufacture life after a disgusting series loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Not everything was cleaned up. They got walked how many times? When they took a 3-2 lead, it probably could have been 4 or 5 runs. Saying total on the board, you could have been up 3 runs by scoring a total of 5 runs. But maybe you could even score 5 in that inning too. Maybe that's not being too ambitious. Do something with the slop against the Pirates. And Taiwan Walker goes through 90-mile-per-hour pitches, and he's never even worried about it at all. Rob was like, I was concerned. Because when you're the manager and you see that, you know he can live in the 93, 94. You know he can give you that. When it's 3 or 4 miles per hour, that's significant. How much did we lose our minds with Spencer Howard? Because when Spencer Howard would throw a few pitches, things got awful. Now, the track record of Taijuan Walker is way longer, and this is what it's about being a pro. You don't have it through the first 3 batters. You don't have it for the first 3 innings. Can you get through 4, 5, and 6? That's just something that you either have or you don't have. It's part of your makeup. With him, Soler annihilates you and embarrasses you pretty good. That was crushed by Soler. It's 2-0. I'll be okay. I just don't feel right. That's what he says to Rob. I just don't feel right. Just one of those. 6+. You know how massive that is? For a team, too, that was in a wonky one with the bullpen yesterday. Although it didn't need to be as hectic as it was. But that's what happens. Alec Bohm, man. Alec Bohm can't shy away from it. I think this team is going to really find some sort of momentum. It gives me that. When a player has been in a city for quite some time, you start to get the know and understand the knowledge of how it plays out with him. Is there a 4-game, 5-game, 6-game traditional run that he can spark? And the answer with Bohm is, yeah, I've seen it before. And it goes a little something like this. It helps when Kyle Schwarber can get on in front of you. Watching him trot is always hysterical. I always have to point it out because they show the replays and he's got his arms moving. Big-ass softball player is what I see. A grown man in softball league. He'd have the cut-off T-shirts. He'd cut the sleeves off, and he'd actually go super deep down the rib cage, too. I never understood that. Whenever I cut the sleeves off, it would be a little breathing room for the pitters. But ultimately, you were just chopping off the sleeves. The guys that go all the way down, that would be Schwarbs. Here he is going to third. They got a timely sac fly. They got a timely hit by Rojas. Alec Bohm with the off-the-wall shot. They did enough. And now they're going up against Alcantara. Every single time, I swear to God, he snags the ball against you. Even though we're fully aware that this year's version of him, nowhere even close to as scary as I'm going to go dominate and take the Cy Young. Even though, traditionally speaking, whenever they did face Sandy, whether he didn't get the run support or not, I didn't hate the idea of facing him in a sense of, I thought they held their own against him. I prefer someone's Bailey Falter. I prefer someone's Dylan Covey, really. But, of course, that's not how this goes. Unfortunately, that's not what it is. JT Realmuto, is he going to be sore tomorrow? Do we see a different usage of Garrett Stubbs that maybe wasn't traditionally thought about? How about Rob throwing Jake Cave under the bus? There's a shot at a quadruple A guy. I didn't tell him to bunt. You got to play unselfish baseball. Okay. I saw some taking the other side and not actually hating the idea of what the team did after that attempt. Now, you know me. I'm not the biggest fan in the world on giving up and out no matter who it is at the plate. I don't care if it's your worst hitter. I don't care if it's someone like Trey Turner right now who isn't doing well enough whenever he's just normally trying to swing. But, hey, he can move the runners over. It's better than him striking out and being full. No, I'll take the shot. I'll take the shot. I thought, Rob, for him saying it that way, that's almost like screaming at him in the face. That's how even and steady Rob Thompson always is. That raised my eyebrows. If that's John Tortorella, for example, it's just another day at the office on how he treats his guys, on how he treats his locker room. You're going to get jabs thrown nonstop. He'll tell it how it is. You never get what it really is from Rob, so getting it really, maybe it's because he heard all day long that both stations here in this city and everyone who's a Phillies fan is questioning and debating, is this more on the players or is this more on Rob Thompson? And I ranted and I vented and I got it off my chest how much Rob has been pissing me off on yesterday's show. And if you haven't seen it, absolutely go ahead and do so. And by the way, since we're here and it happened organically, go ahead and check out Sports Talk with Brodes on all your podcasting platforms. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leaving a 5-star rating and a review goes such a long way. I greatly appreciate it. But if you want to go back and listen to a former episode, they're there for you, and you could put me in your car so it's like I'm sitting right next to you. I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's a damn good time. Sports Talk with Brodes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I love you guys. The transition normally isn't supposed to suck your train of thought. Yesterday, I crushed Rob Thompson on that show. I don't know why it needs to be one or the other. Okay, the number one issue with this team right now is Trey Turner and a mixture and a combination now of Nick Castellanos. I don't know why it needs to be this or that. It can be both. There's plenty of reasons why this team stinks. It's not all on Trey. So Trey would be my number one. But they're also bad defensively. They're also stupid on the base paths. It's all of that. It's all of that. That is okay, right? Like, I don't know. I didn't think it was this difficult. Saying Rob hasn't been strong, that's not taking anybody off the hook at the plate. Yes, the players have way more of a handprint on the wins and losses. They're the ones in the box. They're the ones taking hacks. They're swinging. Or they're not thinking the game properly. But it doesn't mean with what Rob provides as a manager that he's living up his side of the expectations. That he's fulfilling his role as the leader of the clubhouse. All of it is a product on why this team is frustrating. And I just lived through the Joe Girardi thing. I sounded more like that when Joe Girardi was still here. Something shifted. Joe Girardi had 3 conversations with the biggest signing of the offseason. Here's Nick Castellanos. You're a handful of months into things. Oh, well, I only spoke to him maybe 1, 2, 3 times. How? You accidentally bump into people. You accidentally turn it into a water cooler type of situation when you're around every single day. They're always on the road. They're always taking flights. They're always taking bus rides. They're waiting around with their coffees before the bus comes. This and that. It's nonstop 24/7 living with this group of fellas. It changed something when Rob took over, and I wasn't calling for his firing at all. I'm very, 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 very far from wanting him out of here. But there's also a middle ground between being angry with someone and demanding more while not running him out of town. The extreme. And I know what the extreme does. It creates the debate and it creates the controversy. I live in that space. That's part of this, is being intriguing and bringing up certain points and all that to a certain level until you reach the you're obnoxious and you don't actually believe this stage. This team has 5 or 6 collective problems. They're able to beat certain opponents throughout a regular season while that's occurring, which has put them in a position, along with the league expanding their playoff format, to be here now. Can they do something with it? Sure. I don't expect it to be pretty. It's probably going to be another ugly down the stretch, pull on your strings. Either they slide in or another team just slides in with 1 series to go. You're on your final series of the season, and it all comes down to this. That, I could say pretty convincingly, is automatic. Just like Taiwan Walker, automatic with, I'm not going to have it in the start, and I might put us and dig us into a hole. But then I'll settle in, and I'll be sharp after that, and I'll give us a good chance, and we'll get to our pen at a reasonable spot. Look at all those wins. Now, it's crazy because Christopher Sanchez does the same thing, and he can't find a win to save his life. But with Taiwan Walker, look at all those wins. That's why the win-loss stat is complete crap. There's something to it. Guys like Aaron Nola don't know it all. That's the gene that he's missing. Whenever there's that little tiny bit of unfamiliarity, and really it shouldn't be unfamiliar. That's the one word I always struggle with saying, by the way. You know, everyone always has a tough time with like one word. I don't even know if that sounded right. Did that sound right? I thought that sounded awful. But whatever, we'll just keep flying along here. He's there a lot. When he starts to face something that causes him to shiver, causes him to shake, instills fear. Taiwan's like, give me 1 or 2 more batters, I'll be all right. He's doing arm circles in front of his, I don't know, waiting to take a piss in between innings. I don't know, waiting in the clubhouse. He does one of these. Give me 6 more pitches, coach. I'll bring up that velocity 6 miles per hour. Don't worry about it. Something about it. Something about it. So what do we do with this? What do we do with this? I'm asking the clubhouse right now. This is me looking inside after this win. Go on tonight, fellas. Let's keep this thing up. Let's take the first 2. Put the pressure on. Make them feel it. Let them sweat. Get them angry. Take their soul. Punch them in the gut. Here we go. Bohmer. Let's do it again tomorrow here, kid. Here we go, Bohmer. It's your time here, kid. Hey, Bohmy, you hate this place? Let's show it here. I don't know. I don't know. This team drives me crazy. This team takes life off of me. The years go backwards. Think about how red I was yesterday. Think about how angry. It probably didn't help Rob's case, because he was on the other end of this, that I was away from my studio and I was on vacation to the point where it was bottled up for so long that when you do this day to day, you get the 24 hours to sit on it. Okay, something fresh the next day. Eagles are in training camp. There's so much moving here, and there's a lot of moving parts. It changes when you're in the day-to-day grind. Compared to, I got so much to say, I got to get it out. There's a lot that I hated from Cleveland. There's a lot that I hated in that Orioles series, even though they did take 2 out of 3 against a really good opponent. And I just let it rip. But yesterday, I was on a different level. And now Bohm in the 2 spot. After Schwarber gets on base with a couple of walks, I just got to point out the walks. I just want to make sure that everybody recognizes that he's getting on base lately and has had a magnificent road trip getting on from the leadoff spot, which is what he should do and what he should be. We'll make sure that that's known. That's all. I'm just, for the people. All right, let's go to the Anytime Hotline, and we'll kick things off with Sam, who asked this. You can't start the first 3 innings, leaving 2 runners on each inning. How can we expect to even win tomorrow with that effort, let alone in the postseason? Long term, I'm with you. Long term, I completely understand that concept. It's like, I don't know if against the Atlanta Braves or against another good opponent, that if you constantly get on base and you constantly lose your chance to score runs, if you have enough, if you do. Now, Rob's theory is that the more you get met on, the more you get a chance to swing the stick, and you'll work your way out of this. Yeah, unless it's just not your year. Unless your biggest contract studs fall flat on their face, because I hate to break it to you, that's what's happening. I don't know, Nick was phenomenal in the first half. What if he's more this the second half? Then what? And if Turner never gets out of this rut, then what? Then it's not. So those two have to clutch up. I have more faith in Nick this season. I'm with you, though. I'm with you. I don't know if tonight, though, and maybe, I don't know how it sounds. To me, I think I made it pretty clear that I love this win. I thought it was a satisfying win. That's the way that I labeled it and described it on Twitter. It satisfied me. It's not the most energetic win. It's not the most fist pump and everyone's jumping in the clubhouse and singing the song a certain way with a lot of conviction and a lot of fire. There are some emotional wins that are no-brainers and locks, that there's something that's automatically going to flow because of this. But then there are ones like this that are just a professional win. You're on the road. It's tough. Things have been rough for you. You're the talking points. You're the headlines. And you have to answer. You do. There's not enough time to keep sitting on your hands and to let the hole get dug even more. You have to stay in the fire right now. And you have to stay in the mix until you either sack up and steal it from everybody else, or you play the waiting game and you have to wait on others to figure out what they're going to do. You want to hold the cards. You don't want to put any other team in position of power and need to bank on their failures. That's never good. You have to work from up top. You have to be the one with the high ground. It's what they say is the best in war when you're up top. Looking down, it's a lot harder to run uphill in battle. So we'll see. But ultimately, I look at this team, and I thought today could have been something really with Alec Bohm. I don't know if today, to summarize my point, is the day to think that. I thought it was a good one. I thought this one was a good one. I thought for tonight, and we're living in the right now, and we're just thinking about, can I fall asleep happy? It doesn't happen often with this team. Seriously, I'm defeated. I'm just in sweat nonstop at night, getting under my covers, getting out of my covers, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's a hard time. Not tonight. But I get your overall concern, Sam. Let's go to Brett. Here's the debate in the group chat, Brodes. Are you okay with Bryce's season so far? Yeah, I am. I get it. We can take this a million different ways, and that's more for me of a end of the season. Let's look back at everybody. Let's talk about the starters. Let's run through and pick apart what we liked and what we didn't like over their entire journey. For right now, when we're living in the moment, for me and Bryce Harper, he came back way earlier than expected from a Tommy John surgery. I know there's not a lot of power, but it's hard for me to hate what he's done. All right, if he's not here, what's the alternative? Is it more Jake Cave, Cody Clemens? Is it more along those lines? Do they get someone else bigger to fill those shoes somehow in a Dave Dombrowski way? I don't know how you're filling the shoes of Bryce Harper, but I'm saying there's something in between Bryce Harper, superstar, and Cody Clemens, Jake Cave, just that style of player. Forget the position for a second. I'm just saying, somebody. Guthrie. This is way better. The threat of him, even the fear of him. Even with him not hitting a bunch of homers, it's Bryce Harper. It's Bryce frickin' Harper. That's why I laugh when some think it's not a big deal that Kyle Schwarber's in the batter's box, even when he's in a funk. I don't give a damn. You think you feel comfortable no matter what the count is, no matter what the month is, no matter where Kyle Schwarber is in the season, if he's on a 7-game hitless streak? It's Kyle frickin' Schwarber! He's a professional home run hitter. There's value in that sometimes I value more than others. So how do I look at Bryce Harper's season? I think it's an obvious thumbs up. If we're looking letter grade, can I say C+? C+ production, and when you're on the field, I have to grade you like any other athlete. You're there. If you're deeming yourself available, there's a certain standard that needs to be met. C+, I give him an A+ for getting back at it. Because remember, I was aggravated with his approach on how long it took him to even get the surgery. Because he did not go through it as smoothly as maybe we all wanted to. Took way too much time off in between everything. I don't know where he was with the World Baseball Classic, but he was always vocal about that stuff at one particular time. Anyway, your group chat, are there people saying that he stunk? I don't think you could say stunk. Can you say he's been average? I think he's been better than average. He's hitting close to 290, 280, 289, 286. I'm just spitballing. What's he batting right now? Excuse me. He's hitting 291. Excuse me again. I got the damn hiccups. I don't know what's going on, but they're the ones that hurt. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got some pains going. We got some pains. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign. What was the question again? I didn't get to the next one. Jake, even though Taiwan Walker was awesome after the home run he allowed, should we be worried about the dip? It is a lot. But how can I argue the results afterwards? It was a lot. The velocity dip was a lot. It's not some, he's throwing 93, not 94. He's throwing 92, not 93. Nothing like that. It was real. I guess I'll just keep my eye on it. It's something you just monitor. But look at the results. Greasy. It's a good way to say it. It was greasy. So was this show today. This was a greasy show. Take it for what you will. I love you guys. I'll catch you all on the next one.